Peter Keys here, back with Jimmie Bones for the Insomnia Chronicles. Man, let's talk about some of your influences. You know, like what you listen to and what you aspire to as a piano player. What are a few names?
Yeah, and I've found myself lately digging in very deep because I feel like I'm trying to play catch up as far as playing and really exploring not so much technique but different people's feels and everything. Who I really hold in high regard is Otis Spann, who's, I think, any piano player who digs deep into blues, holds him high.
Where was he from?
Well, Otis was he was originally from the South and then came up to Chicago.
Yeah.
And had the long time piano chair with Muddy Waters, and did a lot of work with Howlin' Wolf and just everybody. Junior Wells.
Yeah.
He was on the road with Junior Wells quite a bit. Played with everybody. The guy that he really aspired to be was Big Maceo Merriweather, and Worried Life Blues. And Big Maceo was, he recorded in Detroit. He recorded Worried Life Blues on Fortune Records, a version of that later on.
And now, what would you call that, stride, or would you call that blues, or what?
No, I would call that more barrel house.
Barrel house.
Yeah, that would be more in the barrel house.
Right.
Yeah. The boom, down, boom, boom, and a lot of jackhammer type of voicings and that. But Otis's voicings were. There was something extra to it. It was the way James Booker plays things.
Right.
James Booker would play a piano player would play like this, but James Booker would throw all these little ghost notes in between all these other notes.
Play more like a drummer, really.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And then another one is obviously Leon Russell.
Oh, man.
And more in the songwriting vein, but he was a great piano player. I've been digging into a lot of Thelonious Monk lately.
Oh, dude, Monk.
And things that, again, playing catch up on things that I should have been really devoting a lot of time to earlier on,
Yeah.
Lafayette Leak. Another great blues piano player.
Somebody take notes, because I need to go study all this stuff when we're done here.
Leroy Carr, how long, but I mean, his piano playing was almost, I don't want to say clunky, but it had a real plodding elegance to it,
Right.
But I mean, we're talking, this is deep 20s, 30s stuff.
Well, there's the thing, when you're accompanying yourself as a pianist, there's certain things that you can't play while you're trying to sing. I've noticed that. It's like, there are phrases that I want to do, but if I'm singing, a melody line that's pretty straight,
it takes some work.
Getting in and out of that, I mean, your brain will only let you do so much stuff.
Right.
So when you say
this thing right here.
When you say catching up, I totally get that, because as a player myself, I feel like I suck. I'm like, I can't do everything that I want to do, and I think that's what I love about music, is that you reach certain levels, and then the next level is like exponentially higher, and like, how am I ever going to get to there? And by the time you get there, you don't realize that you're there.
Yeah.
And then when you do realize, then you look up again, it's like, shit, it's even more work to get to that point.
But go there.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the other thing with Ray Charles too.
Right.
Another huge influence with me, writing, singing, and playing.
Yeah.
And like just like what you are talking about, he was a master at holding that rhythm down and being able to sing in between all that, and he couldn't see. That's what's.
I wonder if that was a
amazing,
benefit. I always wonder about some of
man.
The blind piano players just sit down and know where everything is,
because the feel is there. It heightens your other senses.
I mean,
Ray Charles, he really wanted. One of his biggest influences that I've been listening to a lot lately is Charles Brown.
Right.
Yeah. Great piano player. So I've been digging into a lot of that.
Man, I watched this video a series of Dr. John, and it was a shot from above the piano, just his hands.
Yeah.
Check it out on YouTube.
I've seen it.
Holy
I've
crap.
seen it,
I mean,
man.
his reach, like pinky to thumb, is easily an octave and a half.
Yeah.
So
right.
he's voicing stuff that, like, I can't do. Like, I can't reach
You have to
this
figure
stuff.
out a different way to voice it and try and find those.
But he does it
notes.
effortlessly. I'm like, man, I hate you. You're so good.
Yeah.
But that's,
It's like that 13th thing that you're playing the thirds and the sixth. But he's doing what I have to put these fingers
Right.
together because I don't, I wasn't blessed.
he's
with,
doing it like
with
these two fingers, and then his thumb's doing some other
his
shit
fingers
up
like
there.
as long as my forearm.
Yeah. Well, it's a never-ending pursuit.
How about you, man?
Some my influences, everybody from like Nicky Hopkins, early Stones.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
George Duke with the stuff that he did with Frank Zappa, like amazing.
Yeah.
Herbie Hancock, Billy Powell, of course.
Yeah.
Billy Preston, the stuff that he did with the
Billy
Beatles.
Preston,
Thelonious Monk. When I first heard Monk, I was blown away just by his rhythmic, ideas, the way that he played stuff over the bar line and things didn't land on one, his voicings and his melody, all of that stuff just
dissonant harmonies.
Oh yeah.
Things that today you might get yelled at for doing in the studio.
Absolutely.
Like, what are you
yelled
doing, man?
Yeah. What he could do with 3 notes, right? Just he'd pick those 3 notes that would set up a whole scape.
And lean on it.
Yeah, and it just like really would set you off balance and create that tension so that when he got back to the one, that final release was like, oh, and he was probably autistic, he didn't.
Yes. Yeah.
He wasn't very socially acceptable. I think he knocked out one of his trumpet players live in the middle of a gig, like stepped out from behind the piano and he didn't play it right and he just knocked him out. I love that. I mean, that's occupational hazards.
That's rock stars.
They're the jazz rock stars. But yeah, I mean, those, I started digging into, I studied Dr. John Mac Rebenack, and I was like, well, who did he listen to? Mm-hmm. And he talks about Big Joe Turner.
Oh yeah, Big Joe Turner.
So I pulled up some Big Joe Turner.
Jack Dupree.
And I wanted to quit playing when I heard that shit. I was like, my God, he's doing like stride piano faster than like I'd ever heard before. So
yeah. James P. Johnson too, man.
Yeah, Pine
For
Top
stride
Perkins.
piano. You're talking about stride piano.
Yeah.
James P. Johnson. Oh my God, man! I listened to his stuff on a lot of flights, and I'm like, oh God, I want to try and do this so bad.
Professor Longhair.
I gotta dig into it.
All the New Orleans stuff, man. That's just
Those Champion Jack.
Yeah.
And then what about Art Tatum, man?
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, how many hands did he have? It's like 5 or something.
I think some of those tracks were cut with doubles, man. Who else? I mean, some of my influences were crazy too, like Jan Hammer and like a lot of the synth stuff. So, I kind of came up in the fusion world.
Right.
I totally boycotted the whole '80s hair band thing. Well, because I'm a keyboard player. I mean, how bad is it to be a keyboard player in the '80s? Did you see the hair that they had going on, man?
I was in, and I'm still in that place too. I was way more in the punk rock stuff, than I ever was.
And there's no piano
and
in punk rock.
And there's some great. All of that music is so great. The '80s metal stuff. Those guys were such sick players and still sick players.
Right.
But I didn't identify with it as much as I did with the punk rock stuff and the Ramones and Generation X and the Pretenders and the Clash. Clash.
Yeah. I got into like the Talking Heads and Blondie and like Bad Brains and all of that.
Somebody asked me what was Jimmy Bones and the Grave Robbers like. I guess it was a cross between John Lee Hooker and Social Distortion and X.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe.
Okay, so if you had to put together your dream band today for you, what would that look like? What does Jimmy Bones' dream band sound like?
As far as going to
like fantasy
see them?
football? No, fantasy football for you putting your band together.
My band together, of which I'm performing.
Right.
Oh shoot, man! Charlie Watts on drums. definitely Charlie Watts on drums. And none of these people would have me anyways. They'd be like,
No.
They'd be like,
This is going to happen. Mark my words.
Charlie Watts on drums, definitely. Paul McCartney on bass. You know. And this can be people that are gone, right?
No, that opens it up. That's too wide.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're up to, all right. On guitar, definitely Keith Richards on guitar. I'm just gonna want.
So you want
to? I just want the Rolling.
Yeah, you just want to play with the
backing
Rolling
me
Stones.
up,
Okay.
you know,
Cool. Nice. Okay, so
and Rod Stewart on vocals.
so the Stones and the Faces.
No, wait a minute. Yeah, that or Paul Rogers on vocals.
We could actually make this happen between who we know.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
The benefits. I've got this theory. It's called the cockroach theory. See, I've got this roach on my arm, and basically the whole tenet behind the theory is if you just out-survive everybody,
right,
you're successful by default.
There you go, man.
So basically, don't die, don't quit, don't be a dick, and you will be successful in whatever field you're in. You know.
Well, it seems like you know, and tragically, anytime anybody passes, you know, of note, really huge note, I always see this meme on the internet, and it's Keith Richards holding up a paper and it says, "Look who I out-survived this week."
Dig it. He's my mascot for the cockroach theory. I got to play with Keith, man.
Well, I haven't finished my band either yet. So, let's see. We've got. Let's see. Well, I got it. See, I'm always doing this. I got my piano here, and I got a B3 here.
Right.
So I need somebody to be the other end. So I guess it would have to be Peter Keys, you know, and we would just, you know, switch between
So wait,
piano and the
you play
organ,
B3 on your right side?
I play B3 on my right side, and then 90 degrees piano on my
Yeah,
left.
so I do piano on my right, B3 on left, so we could set up and be on both sides of the stage, do our thing, it'd be great, no problem. It'd be perfect mirror image.
Yeah. And I don't know why. I think I'm actually more comfortable doing a lot of the stuff that I would normally jackhammer and do with my right hand on the piano. I'm very comfortable doing that with my left hand and just holding pads on the organ.
See,
and doing some stuff on the organ.
I'm left-footed, which is the weirdest thing ever. I play the volume pedal with my left foot. And,
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and like my left hand.
I'd fall off the bench, man.
That's why I don't play with my right, because my right foot's fucked up. And I tried to play wah volume pedal, I just fall back. It's like, this is not a good look on stage, man.
Yeah, you look like Chevy Chase up there, you know, you just crash, you know, just fall.
I'm really, really stoked that you let me in your band, Jim. Thank you very much, everybody. Keep
I
your
don't know
eyes
if I can afford you, but
you can't afford nothing.
there you go. That's the answer right there, man.
Nice. Well, hey, it's been great talking to you, Jimmy, man.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being had. It's a pleasure. Peter Keys, the Insomnia Chronicles. We will see you next time. That's what's up.